See if I can get some live lighting or some type of light effects here to help me out. Hey, and I can't really find it. I appreciate everybody out there for this video is gonna come across. I thought about just making a regular video, but I wanted to do it live, simply because I think, a lot of people may be watching what's going on with the Charlie Kirk case. And I have to say, just off the bat, that I'm a very big fan of Candace Owens. Right now, she is one of my highest idols. She's the highest idol. I respect her so much. And more than anything, I think she's seriously authentic. She's got a great mind on her. She's willing to change. You can see she's, in her own accord, has admitted to moving from one state of thinking to another. As an adult, that's very hard. And right now, she's just it for me. I'm not too politically into it, but I love what she's doing. I love that she's a black woman doing it. I think she embodies the full system of what black women are here to do, and I just appreciate her so much. But I see really no buts, but I'm seeing also her future. See, Candace is not playing with you guys out here. She's telling the truth about how she feels. And this Charlie Kirk situation, and there's another guy too I would like to mention. My man Byron. I'm gonna do a series in which where I want to go over some things that one of the greatest master teachers that I know of, Dr. Ray Hagan, went over, and I want to show how TPUSA and the Roman Catholic Church. I want to put together how Charlie Kirk and all the gravity this story has, and for this thing called the truth, which brought me to Candace Owens, because she's trying to seek his death, but this truth and this search of truth very well may lead to the fall of Christianity. And I think Charlie Kirk's death is going to be one of the markers, that will lead to the fall of Christianity and to, I'm going to call it, the rebirth back into African spirituality. Because before Christianity and the character Jesus, we lived in a doctrine of African spirituality. And I just want to go over a few things about that. There's as I said, a great master teacher named Dr. Ray Hagan that had put in a lot of work towards some of this stuff that I'm about to go into, but I think he has a video, if you wanted to check it out, called what is it? I think now, what are we gonna do with Jesus? Is the name of it. But he told a great story, and I want to retell the story. And it talked about how my channel is called The Naked Truth. I have a book written called The Naked Truth. I myself been obsessed just kind of how it sounds, The Naked Truth. Back when I was in college, which would probably be 2000, 2020, 2002. So a few years ago. But I've been promoting this title, The Naked Truth. Maybe not knowing where the story came from. So I'm going to take a little time today and go over some of the things that I think Candace Owens is now bringing and revealing what is the naked truth. And it's going to give, she has a big audience. I'm going to do a few pieces and a few parts. Once I get this timeline all together, another thing is it's the timeline. She's so big on timelines with her investigation, and that's going to be critical. I'm going to take about an hour into this. So for those that just, I'm going to be making it into shorts as well. Go and find the hour-long video on the page. Please subscribe and sub to the page and see how this story unfolds. Now, the real timeline starts back, what I would say, let me give you a date of 350 BCE. Back with a gentleman called Ptolemy the First. He was one of the first European pharaohs that came into Egypt and took over. So Ptolemy the First is kind of where it started, but I'm gonna pick up way into the timeline of around 325 AD. So that's right at about 650 years after, where we can see some of the concrete beginnings of thinking, trying to change from African spirituality to having a religion, and what religion, more notably Christianity, has turned the free-thinking people into. So let's go ahead and just jump right in it. Before the year, let's say 500 AD, the world looked at the African continent as the beacon of not only spirituality but sacred knowledge. the ancient times, in ancient times, Europe loved Africa. I'm gonna go over a few names here to where it's gonna show um, some of the Greeks and the Romans that seen Africa as the ruling leader when it comes to um, ideas, intellect, academia, and also spirituality. Um, you hear the name, I'm going to just go over a few names I got written in my notes here. Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, you know, Herodotus. Look up this guy called Hippocrates. He he kind of termed the term hygiena and promoted cleanliness and taught Europeans, and I'm not trying to say anything to be discouraging on anyone or anything, but he was the one who taught the Europeans that disease came with uncleanliness. Taught them hygiene, wash your hands, wash your body. It's gonna help with all the disease. It's gonna help with all the plagues you guys are having. They got that information from Africa, from this guy right there. You know, Hippocrates. So you have guys like Thales, and Thales is known and is called the first Greek thinker. And when I say Greek, I'm saying European thinking. The Greeks were the basis and the foundation for the European thinking, and he was called um, the first great thinker. He learned geometry there. And what I just say, he learned geometry. They say by the Nile. Democritus, he was called, you know, a master chemist. Well, he also learned chemistry in Africa. Democritus. He's called the Africans the great chemist. They taught him everything. They taught him that the soul, gold, and even bread are just particles swirling around. It's way back then now. And Democritus coined the word atoms, atomus, or atoms. So when you hear that, that come from Democritus, and that come from him sitting at the feet of Egyptians that told him everything, including the soul, which is etherical, gold, which is hard, and even stuff like bread is really made up of these small, small, small particles just moving around everywhere. And you wonder how his teachers taught him that. And he termed the word atoms, and he was and he was credited for that. And he was so early in the times, and they knew where he got the knowledge from. They say that it was a wild guess, and it turned out being scientific fact that he got that theory of particles. Not no Einstein, not no guys way in the 19th century back here. These are guys in ancient Greek that was going sitting at the foot of African um, teachers by the Nile. Some of these teachers were just regular citizens. This is common knowledge they're teaching these guys. These guys, they didn't really get to go inside the mystery schools like that. Sometimes they said the mystery schools were the 20-year wait to get into some of the comedic African mystery schools. A few have been recorded as getting in, but for the most part, they were just coming to Africa to get the basics. This is how the world revered Africa. And the Greeks, for sure. So, that's with a regard for them. He also came up and was given credit for the triangle and how the triangle add up to be 180 degrees in geometry. So all of that, let's say he started Greek math, but he didn't know the degrees of a triangle, a three-sided square. I mean, a three-sided shape. So the whole world was coming to Africa. And this had been going on for some years. This now, you're dealing with, a group of people that are starting to learn things and so forth. And some of the correlations with what I've been hearing Candace say reeks back to Dr. Ray Hagen's literature, because he talks about how the Roman Empire really formulated the Roman Catholic Church and just transitioned itself into the Roman Catholic Church. Same thing with TPUSA. Same thing with TPUSA. They realized that we can't have the control, and even though they was big and they had a lot of following, but they knew that they needed that faith element in there to completely control the people, because they took the blueprint of the Roman Catholic Church. And what I love about Candace and seeing her position is that she believes in Catholicism. Oh yeah. So I got some of the things and some of the things that I'm gonna hear you play, that I'm gonna play, that kind of, puts her in the forefront of, are you gonna perpetuate this truth, or just what you're gonna do? This is one of the first ones. If you can just listen in, because I think she's genuine. I know she's genuine, and when she finds out about some of the things that I'm talking about now, she's gonna go all in.
Fear of telling the truth is something that is so scary to consider, that so many human beings are allowing terrible things to happen because there's this like quiet fear that you'll be penalized for speaking the truth. And that's what I gave up in 2025. 2026 Candace, I'm not keeping anybody's secrets.
She talks about how the fear of telling the truth is kind of over for her. She's not dealing with that no more. She's not going to have that fear of telling the truth. So, it makes me feel like
Just like and
when she goes down this path, the same path like she's on with Charlie Kirk right now, the death of Charlie Kirk, um, she's gonna keep that same energy, guys. She's gonna keep that same energy. Candace Owens will be one of the ones that research the stuff that I'm talking about, how the Roman Catholic Church uh, kind of set up African spirituality, put their own situation in place, and now living off the fruits of it. So those are some of the people that was really prominent and in the Greek history, and it kind of show you how Europe before what they call the Dark Ages, and I'm gonna try to explain that. Um, Revered Africa, and the Romans didn't like it because the Romans was like, man, all of our greats, revere Africa and kind of leans towards Africa for their insight. We need that control. We control a lot of things, but we need that control. And they started the Roman Catholic Church to really get into politics, so to speak. And it started with, didn't start with, as I said before, it kind of started back in 350 BCE with Bartholomew the First. But this is the time to where, I think the Bible was written in 1611. So I'm going to be primarily talking about the time that's leading up to 500 BC. 500 AD to 1500 AD, because that was considered the Dark Ages. But I want you to see some of the things that's leading up to 500 AD that, got us to where we at with this thing that we're using. A lot of people are using it, called Christianity, and Candace is using it right now as well. And like the Charlie Kirk death, I think she's going to end up running into this information. And when Candace runs into this information, I think she's not going to have too much choice other than to, just reveal it. Now, Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 AD with the Edict of Milan. The Edict of Milan pretty much made it, a law that Christianity was the state religion and so forth. Listen, Theodotus made it official in 380 AD. So let's move through the timeline. Let's move through the timeline. So what we find at 325 AD is the Nicene Council. The Nicene Council started because there was this guy named, well, first of all, they created Jesus there. And when I say created Jesus, they kind of created that he was the Son of God and the Christ in which were all the ancient books were speaking of was talking about this entity, and they kind of solidified that in 325 AD at the Nicene Council. And they have a thing called the Nicene Creed. And once I get my timeline, I have a timeline that I'm going over. I just felt compelled to make a live today to give you a preview of what's to come. So, you know, that's where we're gonna be headed with that. And I think once Candace Owens gets on some of this information about the Nicene Creed and, you know, Jesus being created in 325 AD, I think she's gonna seek the truth. Even though she's part of the Roman Catholic Church, which is the Roman Empire. Please understand that, you know, just like with TPUSA faith, it's still TPUSA. You just understand to have complete power and control over people, they needed that faith element part of it. Let me see if there's anything I got for you with the 325 AD. And this is, as Dr. Ray Hagan said, was the thing that the Roman Catholic Church wanted to do against the truth. And I forgot to give you the story. I'm also dropped the story of the naked truth. They wanted to hide the truth, suppress the truth, reconstruct the truth, reshape the truth, plagiarize the truth, all to give it and make it a well-dressed lie. So let me start with the story of why the channel is called, not why the channel is called The Naked Truth, because as I said, I've been dealing with the term, not really knowing what it was for a while. But he said his uncle told him a story about the truth and the lie. And the lie asked the truth, let's go swim out in the water and see who can hold their breath the longest. Truth said, okay, let's go try it. I think I, spoke like these guys was pretty good friends. They both went out in the water, and while the truth was underwater, the lie ended up sneaking back or going out the water and stole the truth's clothes. And he ran all around town. And people was pointing at the lie saying, that looked like the truth. And I figured because back in the days, a lot of people didn't have a lot of different types of clothes. So your ensemble or the clothing that you had, you wore it, maybe 7 days out of a week. So the lie went and put on the truth's clothes, and people was looking at the lie, but like, that looks like the truth. But then the truth got out the water and seen that the lie had stole his clothes and put on the chase behind the truth. And people started to say, hey, but here comes, or this looks like the naked truth. They seen it as the naked truth chasing down the truth to get his clothes back on. And what Candace is doing right now, is doing with this story, is doing with the assassination of Charlie Kirk is in the story where the truth has caught up with the lie and now started to slowly but surely undress the lie. And that's just a great story. What she is doing is slowly peeling back things that the lie is made of and the lie is wearing. And she's undressing the lie to the people who looked at it and thought at one point that that was the truth. So, 325 AD, part of the lie, they created this situation called Jesus. And for the next 125 years, they held council meetings to kind of put this lie into place and make sure it's able to run around and get around and disguise itself as the truth. It lasted 2 months and 12 days, had 118 bishops there. Because the story of Arius is they held the Nicene Council because the lie was already in place, but it was this band of people that was led by a man named Arius. And Arius had documentation, and remember, before the Jesus story, because they were saying that Jesus was God and the Son of God, but Arius and his followers like, hey, I remember before Jesus. I remember, and we worship the God before your God that's walked around as a man. Your God is part man. Our God is the one true God. So you go ahead and worship this guy called Jesus all you want. And the Roman Catholic Church couldn't have that. So what they did was, in this creed called the Nicene Creed, they basically says, and what relates Candace Owens there, he said anyone, first of all, Jesus is the one true God, and he's begotten by God, and he is God, and anyone that says anything different will be anathematized. Now, anathematized means that the group of us, I had it written down here, will be basically making you an outcast. What they're doing to Candace now. We don't want you to have no friends. Anybody who stand up with you will be killed. And like she said, that there will also be a death warrant on your head. Now this is by the Emperor Constantine. You will be anathematized if you try to believe anything else other than what we're telling you about our God, Jesus Christ. That was the first step. But there was more to go, because you have to dress a lie with more than one thing. So, they held another council in 381. So that was 56 years later. They had the first council of Constantinople. Candace gonna find all of this, and it said that also the Holy Spirit is God, and as God, and anyone who believes anything different, once again, will be anathematized. When you read that, when you learn what that means, that's exactly what's happening to Candace. She's being anathematized. It said if you even, more than anything, if you even question what we're saying, the Roman Catholic Church said, if you even question what we're saying, and she's a Catholic, you will be anathematized. Ain't it ironic now how she's questioning what happened to Charlie Kirk's death and she's being anathematized? That's the link that I have. It means an organization or a group that's made you and has cast you out. Not only have they cast you out, they put a death warrant on you. She said there was a death warrant on her. Now, 50 years later in 431 AD, Pope Celestine had the Council of Ephesus. They had to keep dressing up the lie. You know, I call this a perfect situation like with Charlie Kirk. They had to put more clothes on it. The clothes not fitting. See, the 30-06 part is not fitting. The 22-year-old guy who's did all this stuff in the murder is not fitting. You know, so they had to add more on it. Almost like how Ariel Kirk said that, you know, his neck was Superman neck, and now they try to say it was some type of fragile bullet or something like that. So they had to keep the lie. You have to keep dressing it up, or you have to dress it up real well for a while to get people to kind of sit as the truth. But the truth, you got to remember, is running around. I mean, the lie is running around with truth clothes on. And at 431 AD, they made the triune God. That was that Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit was all God. They also said in that council in 431 AD that Mary was the mother of Jesus. But not only was she the mother of Jesus, this is what Catholicism went a step deeper, and the Roman Catholic Church went a step deeper. This is why Baron Coleman, that's my man too, when he said that they want to teach you what we believe. They believe that Mary, the triune God was one. They believed that Mary was the mother of God. That's why they do Hail Mary and Holy Mary. Ooh. They put all this together in 431. And the timeline is leading up to 500, because I'm going to show you what happened at 500. It's not until 500 AD. So after the 431 AD Council, the Roman Catholic Church, or Roman Empire, was met with resistance. in 431. But it won't from black folk. See, because black folks looking at them almost like ants to an alien. Like we dealing with spirituality over here. We know what's going on. We didn't think that they would have and put the military part in it. That's another part. Candace is showing how the military is involved with all the faith-based stuff and how they're able to do operations maybe like Charlie Kirk and maybe in the past already with JFK, and they use the military and that military armor things. So this was been going on. This was been going on, but it was done by the Roman Empire, which now has the title of the Roman Catholic Church, but still understand Rome controlled the world at the time. They had the military strength to do everything. So, the resistance came, and their biggest resistance, let me tell the story, was coming by other white folks. And this is a great story. I didn't know it till the master teacher told me. Dr. Ray Higgins. That was in 431. Well, in 432, the same Pope Celestine, went and got a British slave named Patrick. He knew there was some work to do because there was a large part of not only the psyche of the mind, but of the European mind, of the white folk, that was saying, man, none of this mess is making sense. You read this Nicene Creed, you anathematizing Arius. He came with facts. Arius' followers had got real big. He had so many facts they anathematized him. He later on died, and he had a nice little following, but his people had to stop away from us and say, listen, man, Constantine said we can't preach, teach, write down, or think none of this stuff you're talking about, man. We got to step back. That's the Emperor Constantine. But this group of Europeans that knew better was in Ireland. So Pope Celestine went and found this British slave named Patrick and commissioned him with the military and supported him to go to Ireland. And he was made to go to Ireland. This British slave named Patrick, listen to how crazy this story goes, and to kill what he called the snake people. Now these people had African spirituality, and they was called the snakes people because they wore the Kemetic headdress with the uraeus or the snake on the top of the headdress, which simply means what I have here. The journey pretty much from human to the spirit world. Let people know that they were in tune with the spirit world. These people in Ireland was called the Druids. And the Pope Celestine sent them over there to what he called, and see, you can get this off back then because they didn't have no internet, they didn't have anything like that, no type of how the people gonna know. They just called them the snake people. But these people was under the metrics of the ancient Kemetic academia and knew better and was following and was teaching something that just was way higher and way more sense than what the Roman Catholic Church, i.e. the Roman Empire, could control those people with. You couldn't bring this Jesus character over there to them and to have no control. So what Pope Celestine did is commission him and with the military to go over at Ireland, and they slaughtered them. Tens of thousands of people. He killed everybody. Yeah, military guy. Candace Owens gonna find that out. Candace Owens gonna find out that her St. Patrick, and this is when, I want her to finish doing what she's doing right now. But I'm telling you, Candace Owens gonna find this stuff out about Catholicism. And she's gonna, somebody may ask her a question and she's gonna do a deep dive on it. And I don't think she follows Catholicism now because she's genuinely just subjected to what the religion has done. But she's gonna find out, just like the Palestinians, that St. Patrick went over there and killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people in the name of Jesus, really. They won't believe in what the emperor wanted them to believe. Ain't no such thing as snake people. So, what the Pope did then, said hundreds of thousands were killed. After they were killed, what he did was they set up churches, not one or two churches, over 300 churches in Ireland that they set up. Started to indoctrinate them with their creeds from the council that they've been having. And the Pope under him and canonized him. A mass murderer, Candace. And I'm not saying anything. I know you may don't know, but you're in the books. You have a book club. And I want you to fight the battle you fighting with Charlie Kirk right now and get to the bottom of that. But I think you're going to be the one to free us and bring back African spirituality as the fruit of the world. Because now that Pope Celestine decreed him as a saint and gave him what we now celebrate as St. Patrick's Day, for being a mass murderer, for being Israel doing to Palestine. It's not going to sit well with Candace. That's not going to sit well with Candace. And Byron Coleman says he has a high IQ outfit out there. When that high IQ outfit, Byron, finds out that your St. Patrick's come from slaughtering hundreds of thousands of druids that they call snake people, which really weren't snake people, but people that was under the African Kemetic understanding and seeing the snake as the Uraeus, a spiritual path from here to the afterlife. Your high IQ outfit is I'm gonna say, be high IQ. It's gonna be one of the things that now you, Byron, as a Catholic, will contend with. And I'm waiting for you, buddy. I'm gonna be in the fight with you. I want y'all to continue the fight that y'all doing right now. And you having so many people being inspired to Catholicism and all of that. I love that you're getting that, Byron Coleman. But when you find out this information about Catholicism as well, I want you to do that. Here's a piece I want to put in from Candace, what she says in her latest, and I'm gonna be going over because I don't do the video much. I'm gonna be going over her because she mentioned like religion and God and all of this stuff. So both of them wear religion on their shoulders very heavily. And Catholicism, they both believe in Catholicism. Here's what Candace had to say about the truth.
And because I just think it was one of the best clips ever.
Oh, thank you.
All right, you guys, there's obviously a war on truth right now. You feel it, I feel it, and the biggest weapon that they have is the algorithm. Rewriting history and redefining morality to fit a broken secular agenda that has completely erased God from the conversation. That's why I use Magisterium AI, because this isn't just about the past, it's also about how to live right now. Talking about the toughest questions that you face, questions about suffering, marriage, and purpose in life. And unlike the other AIs that are out there, Magisterium AI actually brings the receipts, meaning every single answer is backed by original.
Now, I went on and downloaded Mysterium, and it's a resource. And what's real scary is how they're using AI to be like a resource. So when people say, oh, well, AI said this, that, and the third. Man, AI is so behind the times. Those of us who use it and who deal with real information and know it, you see sometimes you have to teach your AI. And because even I've taught my AI a little bit to where my AI says, yeah, you're right. I am kind of leaning and based on the European temperature in which my information came from. And now he seeks and looks at the overall consensus of worldly principles and guidelines, and understands that there was a few Mosaic figures born on December 25th, and all of that had to do with the placing the sun in the sky, not no birth of a person. So, yeah, getting back to the story. Yeah, Pope Celestine killed hundreds of thousands of Druids. Hundreds of thousands of Druids and people of Ireland, and went up and set up over 300 churches, Catholic churches, to try to convert them. So 19 years later, we now at the Council of Chalcedon. We're at the Council of Chalcedon in 451 AD. And what the Council of Chalcedon said is that Jesus Christ was man and God at the same time. See, you got to dress this lie up. It was a lot of people. There's a lot of stories that keep coming back. So from 325, and I say it's 120, over 125 years, all the way up now to, 451 AD, the lie ain't finished. They ain't finished putting the clothes on yet. The lie still putting the clothes on, and what they had to do was go and say that to make it fit the way that they needed it to fit, because when you put somebody else's clothes on, the shirt is a little big, the pants may be tight. Like OJ, the glove might don't fit. They're trying to dress this lie up, and things wasn't fitting. So in 451 AD, Pope Leo made the Council of Chalcedon, and they had to put some more clothes on the lie, and they said that the lie Jesus Christ was a human being and God at the same time. They made a decree and said, "This read that decree too." You know, look up the decree from the Council of Chalcedon. That decree said, Candace, because you're the one that been anathematized, and you see from just stating the truth what can happen to you. Read this decree. This decree. This decree said, since we have formulated these things with all possible accuracy and attention, they though, they the Roman Empire, you would say they Israel or something like that, but they Roman Empire / the Roman Catholic Church said, since we have formulated these things with all possible accuracy and attention, this synagogue decrees that no one is permitted to produce, write down, or compose any other creed, or even think to teach otherwise, like you're trying to help us think and discover otherwise, Candace. And if you do, you will be anathematized. There will be a death warrant also with that. So if anybody even look or think at anything else, want to be like, hey, well, can I look into Hellenism and Judaism at the time, will be anathematized. These are the words in that decree that Candace is not gonna like when she find out. She's gonna see the parallel. It's gonna really tick her off that the Roman Catholic Church had these degrees and kind of made people think or not think and be in trouble for thinking anything else other than the narrative that they was giving you. That's key. I'm telling you, that black woman is not gonna fall for it. They're gonna end up having to take her off YouTube. Just be a few years down the line. But Candace Owens will be ripping down, brick by brick, the Roman Catholic Church. I'm telling you, she's like Storm. What's that other mutant? The other mutant, the lady mutant. Can't think of her name right now, but she's like a 9 in the mutant scale. So now we have, because that was 451, you're 50 years from what they call the Dark Ages. During the Dark Ages, they said for the next 1,000 years, got to understand, for the next 1,000 years, the Catholic priests were the only one that were allowed to have books. Don't have no book. Don't have no book. You're not a Catholic priest. That's why they call this the Dark Ages, from 500 to 1500 AD. You will be killed. they had during this time, I think, what they call the Christ Crusades. I know she knows about that. She may don't clearly understand it or get all the way into it, or the priests are not talking about it too much. But if you say or look at or do anything else during those 500 years, you will be killed. And what the Roman Catholic Church did is at an hour now. I'm about to break this down. What the Roman Catholics did between year 500 to 1500 is killed everybody that tried to bring forth or even look at a different narrative. They anathematize people, like Candace Owens is being anathematized now. But her and Baron Cooper have the type of energy, and they are the type of genuine. I have a very good instinct for being able to read people. These are two genuinely good people. Baron Coleman, Candace Owens. And I think they're going to do something about this Catholicism history and the truth in which lies and the naked truth that's chasing behind it right now. These two will catch up with the lie that's in these clothes and start peeling off the clothes, the dress up that the lie has on it, and the naked truth will get his clothes back. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna put together, and I don't speak in front of the camera too much, so it's gonna take a little time for me to put this thing cohesively together. But I have here from 379 to 395 AD under Pope Gregory. No, 379 to 395 AD. Temples turned Christianity into a state religion. It turned Christianity into a state religion during that time, which means that they was able to crush out anything else other than the state religion. One of the things was Yule. A lot of people know Yule. Basically, the celebration of the winter solstice, which was a celebration of where the sun was in the sky. And that's where we get the holly wreaths that was put on the door during Christmas time. That's a Yule practice. Help keep the bad spirits out. So, the first thing that the Roman Empire / the Roman Catholic Church did into 100 years into the Dark Ages, they centralized the Vatican in 600 AD in the middle of Rome. And the Vatican, i.e. the Roman Catholic Church, has been running not only Europe but America ever since. You know, in my timeline, I'm going to talk about people like Emperor Nero, who reigned from 54 AD to 68 AD. how people look at him as a horrible person that burnt down Rome and so forth and so on. Well, you know, I'm going to show how you'll see his relations to Seneca and his well thinking that he seen what was coming on the horizon. He seen the people being really manipulated, and as Candace would use a lot, brainwashed by this thing called religion and this thing called Christianity. So, yeah, that's what kind of I think I have here that the Roman Empire and the Roman Catholic Church knew that they couldn't control the world and the masses with the spirituality of the African people. So they had to put us down. You have to understand between this 500 and 1500 Dark Ages is when the transcontinental slave trade started as well. So a lot of us over here, we was, when they say born into the lie was out running around and being implemented. You had the Gutenberg printing press that was started right at, was it 1495? Got to add that in there because the people who control the printed paper, 1445, yeah, you know, um, runs the world. And in 1445, Gutenberg, you gotta understand, he was a Roman Catholic. That press that he had in control, he was a Roman Catholic, so he has already been indoctrinated and going off everything that the creeds and councils before that time was spoke of. And then at 1500, the end of the Dark Ages, they said, hey, it's time. That's when they finished dressing up the lie. The lie had just got out the water and put on all the truth clothes and started to really run around the world. And they called it the rebirth. Then we got places like New England, New York, new, everything's new now. You know, we're not looking at the Africans as I started with this no more. We're looking at Europe as being the basis for everything. We've been killing and destroying and murdering from over 1,000 years. And making sure that our lie gets seen as the truth. And in 1611, Jimmy wrote the Bible. King James wrote the Bible, which kind of cemented, you know, gave the lie with the truth clothes on a big run. But from that time to now, with the help of people like Candace Owens and just running into a genuine person with a crowd with a heart like she has, with a heart like Baron Coleman has, once they find out about Catholicism and what's really going on, it's gonna be where the truth, the naked truth, like Naked Truth TV confronts the lie. And they're gonna break the lie down like they breaking this Charlie Kirk thing down for you. I see a lot of parallels, which made me put this together and make me want to put this together. I've been running around all over the world, but here comes the naked truth. You can't beat that one, Dr. Ray Hagan. I have to give it to him on that one, man. This guy made one of the serious master teachers out there, and most of the research that I've heard him say, and me going and putting an even deeper timeline on it, is gonna be the consensus of what I create and what I illustrate one day as. And the channel is gonna be on all topics, trying to give you the naked truth. Peace, one love, earth wellness, and we out.